CAT 2023 results are out and you have started getting calls from your B school. But the battle is still half won because still 50% of the weightage is on your personal interview, group discussions, written ability test. And all of these B schools, whatever MBA school you're applying for, there will be a significant component for this GDPI, which means you have to prepare really hard for this component as well. So welcome to Unacademy Showcase. I'm Anand Chajar, an alumni from IIM Ahmedabad, and I'm here to help you with your end-to-end interview preparation. So in this video, basically I will cover everything, what all you need to prepare for your MBA interviews. Second part would be on what are those qualities that B school professors are looking for in a candidate. And finally, I'll end with some tips from my end for all candidates appearing for MBA interviews this year. If you're not appearing for MBA interviews this year but preparing for CAT 2024 as a repeater or as a fresher, then Unacademy has got for you the Night Mastery batch for CAT 2024, which is ideal for working professionals and those students who are not able to find time in their daily schedule, because all the classes in this particular batch are going to be held 8 p.m. onwards. So if you want to register in this batch, the link to apply will be there in the description. You can check it out there. So coming to what all you need to prepare for your interviews, I have divided it into 7 components from where usually questions have appeared in the previous years. And the first component of that is knowing about yourself. And that is, you have to know about your life in every detail, starting with your name itself. You have to know what's the meaning of your name. You have to know the origin of your name and surname. You have to know if there are some famous personalities sharing a similar name with you. So 1 or 2 famous personalities, about their life, what have they achieved, everything around this. After this, let me detail out some of the other common questions that you can be asked around your personal life. So you can note all of these down so that you can prepare accordingly for this. So you can be asked about your city as well. So you have to know everything about the brief history of your city, the origin of the name, the famous people from your city, the major businesses in the city, and the popular places in your city. You can be next asked questions about your hobbies. Suppose it is your hobby is playing tennis, then you have to know everything around it. That is all the major tournaments that happen, what are the recent games that have happened, who are the major players there, the rules, the different rules about the game, the different styles of play, everything around it. Similarly, your hobby can be about, say, reading books. You have to know about everything about your genre, the top 5 books that you have read in that particular genre, what are the recent books that you have read, who are your favorite authors. So everything around that has to be included. Suppose you have work experience, then you also have to know everything about your company. That is, who are the founders, what does the company history look like, when was it established, who are the major competitors of your company and how are they placed. And you also have to know everything about your industry. So you should know about your undergraduation college as well. That is, when was it established, what's the origin look like, what does the history look like, what are the rankings of that college, who are some of the famous alumni from your college, and what are they doing in their life. So these are some of the basic personal questions that everyone can be asked, but the best way to prepare for this component is to make a master CV. Make a CV and write down everything, even the smallest detail from class 6 till now. What have you done? That will help you prepare. What have been your achievements? What are the extracurricular activities you have participated in? What are the hobbies that you have participated in? That will give you the exact idea what are the kind of personal questions you can be asked based on your profile. Next component is that of undergraduation subjects, and this is one component which takes maximum amount of time because you have studied your undergraduation subjects for 3 years, 4 years of your undergraduation, and now to study everything back, it's very difficult. So obviously you need not study everything, but what you have to do is study the basics at least about your stream. Suppose you are a mechanical engineer, you have to know everything about engines, you have to know about fluid dynamics, the basic Bernoulli theorem and everything, which every professor would know about. Suppose you are from economics background, you have to know about how is GDP calculated, the basics of demand supply curve, macroeconomics, microeconomic concepts. You have to know at least the basics. I would suggest you prepare for at least 1 or 2 subjects in minute details, so that if the interviewer asks you what questions we should ask you from or from which subject we should ask you questions, you can tell about those 1 or 2 subjects. Otherwise, from rest of the subjects, study at least the basics. Remember, if you do not answer the basic questions correct, then it becomes a problem. If you do not answer the advanced questions, it's still fine. Most of the interviewer would not be from your own stream, and it's highly likely that they would not be from your own stream. And that's why they would not know the advanced questions, but they would definitely know at least the basics about your stream because they have been interviewing so many candidates for so many years. So make sure you are good with those basic questions because that's the basic filter. If you cross that, then advanced question is not such a big a problem for you. This component is that of current affairs, and here I will ask you to read three things. First is an Indian newspaper, second is a global newspaper, and third is a business magazine or newspaper. These three components will make sure that you know everything that is asked in current affairs. But one mistake every candidate does in answering these current affairs questions is they try to remember the dates and the names associated with those events, which they think is important. But the interviewer is not testing you on that. They are not judging you on how much you remember, but what they want to test is whether you have an opinion of your own or not. That's why instead of wasting time in remembering the facts about an event, try to read about that event and then list the pros and cons about that event. That what are the good things happening out of it, what are the negatives that can happen, and that will help you develop that thinking ability that is required in the interview. Remember, you cannot know everything that can be asked in an interview. You cannot remember every detail that can be asked in an interview, but what you can definitely do is develop that thinking ability before the interview, which will help you answer any question, and that is exactly what the interviewer needs as well. The component is that of basic management subjects. Remember, if you are from a particular field, say if you are from finance field or from marketing or economics field, obviously you can expect a lot of questions from your field. But even if you are from a different field, suppose you are an engineer, still you can be asked questions on the basics of management subjects. So make sure at least you read the basics of finance, the basics of marketing, the basics of economics at least. Component, if you have work experience, you can expect questions from your work experience projects as well. And that is something you have to read in every bit of detail. At least the projects that you have listed on your CV and you want to talk about, you have to think about those projects very deeply. You can be asked about anything, your role in that particular project, how did you manage the team, what's the impact that you made from that project, what's the achievement in that particular project, what did you learn out of that, everything. Suppose you're in a business or sales role, you can expect questions from the business point of view. If you are suppose in a technical role like coding, you can expect questions, theoretical questions from coding as well. It's highly likely that the interviewer knows every detail about the coding as well. So you can be asked theoretical questions. Suppose you are in a data science field, you can be asked questions not only about the models that you created, but also about the underlying statistics. So make sure that you read about that as well. Especially if you have a significant amount of work experience, you can expect a lot of questions revolving around your work experience. The component is that of management roles that you get after MBA. And here you need not know every detail about it, but at least you should have a basic idea about the different roles, whether what happens exactly in finance, what happens in consulting, what happens in marketing, what happens in product management, what happens in general management. You should at least have the basic idea. And it's not necessary that you have decided that you want to enter this particular role only after your MBA. What you can, if they ask you, if they push you to answer one particular field, what you can definitely say is that while I have inclination, say towards consulting, but I have not yet decided, when I come to the institute, definitely I will get a lot of insights from my peers, from the faculty, and from the subjects that I will learn during the course of my MBA as well. And after that only I can make a firm decision what's the right career path for me. You can definitely say that, and it's perfectly fine. You can say I have a specific inclination towards this field, but that does not mean that you have decided that you have to go there only. But at least you should have a basic idea what people do in those roles, in finance role, in consulting role, in general management, product management, and marketing roles. These are the typical profiles that you can read about before your interview. Next, coming to what does the interviewer expect from an ideal candidate for a B school. And here from my experience, I will divide it into three questions which will give you complete clarity what is the expectation. First is what have you done so far? Second question is how you are as a person. And third question is what can you achieve in future? So the first question, which is what have you done so far, that typically is in your CV itself, and that also comes out in your conversation. So it's about your educational achievement, your extracurricular achievements, and also your work experience. What have you done so far in your job as well? So all of those things are already included, but that is something that you cannot change at this point of time. You cannot change in 2-3 months what have you done so far. So that is one component that is already decided, but obviously what you can change and what you can project very nicely in the interview is how you are as a person and what are your future goals and what you can achieve in future. So under how you are as a person, the first thing that you have to show the interview and make them believe is that you have the growing and the learning mindset. And once you make it to the B school, you will carry that. Remember, everyone who is sitting in the interview has cleared CAT examinations, so they have the required intelligence, they have the required IQ. The professors know that, and also that they have achieved significant things in their life before as well. That is also true. But what you have to make them believe is once you make it to the B school, whatever brought you till that point in life, whatever brought you till the interview, you will continue doing that during your MBA as well. That is one thing that you have to show. Oftentimes it might happen, you make it to a top B school, you might grow a bit complacent that okay, now I have made it in life, now I do not want to put that extra effort. That is something that you have to avoid. Show that growing and learning mindset, that once you make it to the B school, you are there still to learn. Bring it out in your tell me about yourself answer, in your why MBA answer, in your strengths and weaknesses, whatever questions there are, try to highlight that in your story. If you can show that you will be eager to learn and grow more in MBA, then it's a great indication for the interviewer. Second thing that the interviewer wants to test is whether you are trainable or not. Obviously, a lot of people will have great academic achievements, great extracurricular achievements, but one thing that you have to show in the interview is you can let go of some of the biases that you might have developed and you're open to learning new things in MBA as well. That is one thing that has to come out in your answers. If you show arrogance, that sets a very bad precedent, because if you show that you're trainable, only then the professor will think that yes, they would like to teach you in the classroom, that you can add value to an MBA classroom where people from diverse backgrounds would be there. Only if you can let go of certain biases, only then you will be helpful and suitable for that particular MBA school. And finally, the professor would like to know whether you will be able to survive in the B school as a person or not. Definitely the MBA curriculum is going to be hectic and there will be a lot of failures as well in terms of placement, in terms of academics. So the point is that you should be able to handle the pressure, and the way that the interviewer would want to check that is by putting you under stress interview. So whenever you face a stress interview, do not feel underconfident or do not feel like the interviewer hates you or wants to reject you. It's just a part of the interview itself. So be confident and do not hesitate to say I don't know whenever you feel like. It's a perfectly good answer. It's not necessary that you should know 100% of the questions being asked, and they will try to put you under stress and they will ask you questions which you are not able to answer. Just be confident and you will sail through. And for the final question, that what you're going to do or achieve in life, for that again it's a bit difficult to judge during the interview itself. But if you can show during the interview that you have the learning growth mindset, what I've talked about earlier as well, and that you have the hunger to succeed, then it's a great indication that you are going to add value to the institute later as well. So that is good enough for them. And also, if you have a little bit clarity about what you want to do professionally and socially as well, that's also a great indication. It's not necessary that you have 100% decided I'm going to do this, but if you have that maturity and that clarity, it's good enough for them. So that was all about MBA interviews and some quick tips from my end for your interview. If you're just going to appear for interviews, remember during the interview, be humble, keep smiling and be confident. No one likes an arrogant person, but you have to show humility as well as confidence in the interview. And also remember that you need not answer 100% of the questions. It's almost impossible to answer 100% of the question. Most of the very good interviews, they also answer around 70% of the question. So if you can answer 70% of the question and if you can answer that with confidence, your job is done. Final tip from my end is it's just going to be a conversation in the interview. So do not try to fake your personality or do anything fancy in the interview. See, you can fake your personality for probably 2 or 3 questions for 5 minutes in an interview, but it's going to be a 30-40 minute interview. You cannot fake your personality for 40 minutes. Your original self will come out. So do not try to go with prepared answers from the internet. Include your story and be your original self. So that's it for this particular video. I hope this has given you a lot of clarity. So do like, share and subscribe to Unacademy Showcases channel, and I wish everyone cracks their dream B school this year.